Like AOC was on TV the other day doing an interview, and she was saying, and she was calling them undocumented people, and the way to do it is to give them a path to citizenship. Well, how about you know who the fuck they are?
After openly supporting AOC, the comic has abruptly changed his views. He has entirely changed, openly denouncing her for ideas that he believes are impractical, unfounded in reality, and unrealistic. He used to fiercely defend her. So many were taken aback by the shift, but now he's sounding the alarm louder than before.
Going to this ball where all they do is celebrate extravagance and wealth, and you have a dress that says tax the rich. Like, what are you doing? Like, that dress is preposterous.
But Rogan's criticism didn't stop there. He went even further and declared categorically that, in his opinion, AOC had no chance of winning the Democratic Party presidency. He was not merely skeptical of her chances, he essentially ended the idea before it could gain traction.
First of all, you've got incompetent use of funds. Like,
where does the money go?
Exactly.
All our taxes, where does it go?
This idea that if you tax the rich, that all of a sudden all the problems will stop existing. That is so silly. You still have incompetent people that are distributing the money. They just create more jobs. There'll be more red tape.
And we get more in debt.
Yeah. What we got to do is figure out a real plan for engineering our civilization.
We've prepared every subtlety and turn. To ensure you don't miss these kinds of events, don't forget to hit the subscribe button before we start into the drama. Every instant counts for what will shortly be revealed because the plot is moving swiftly.
Favorite interviews was when AOC was talking to that lady and she asked her to expand
about Israel-Palestine.
Oh my God.
Well, I believe absolutely in Israel's right to exist.
She just collapsed into herself.
It's literally like a fifth grader that didn't study.
Look at that incident more through just as an incident.
And then they ask you about the subject, or you didn't read the book. Well, it's about Billy and his dog.
What people are starting to see, at least in the occupation of Palestine, is...
But the crazy thing about that interview is that her first comment comes off with, total authority.
I am a proponent of a two-state solution.
One little follow-up question. The question's like, well, what do you mean by that? And then you just see her get weaker and weaker.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
But what do you mean by that? She's like, I don't know what I'm talking about, man. And she literally goes, I'm really not the expert.
Do you think you can expand on that? I am not the expert on geopolitics.
He's been calling her out for the same familiar set of woke ideas and the unrealistic fixes she keeps promoting for serious real-world challenges. A clear example is her backing of an open border approach that would allow nearly anyone to enter the country and receive documentation as if it were an exclusive guest pass, all while rejecting the idea of a border wall. It sounds hard to believe, and Rogan agreed. He went on to directly challenge her claims, and there's a clip where he does exactly that. Let's start by hearing AOC describe, in her own words, what she believes the ideal border policy should look like.
Political spectrum, one of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to immigration is the fact that we have an undocumented population. Now, you can fix that by trying to build a wall, or you can fix that by trying to document people and create a path to citizenship. And we'll have folks that might say, look at these systems, that our shelter system has weight and things like that. But one of the reasons that our public systems experience weight is because people don't have a documented and reliable path to work and sustain themselves, just like all of our ancestors did.
When Rogan first heard AOC's stance on immigration, his reaction was immediate and intense. He went through her statements step by step, describing them as carefully packaged language and political performance that sounds compassionate but fails to offer workable answers. The moment he finished, the response online exploded. This wasn't simple mockery. Rogan dismantled her argument in a way that left little room for confusion or spin. For many viewers, it felt like the moment they had been waiting for, a clear challenge to ideas they had only heard praised before. Judging by the force of his response, it was obvious he had no intention of pulling his punches.
On TV the other day doing an interview, and she was saying, and she was calling them undocumented people, and the way to do it is to give them a path to citizenship. Well, how about you know who the fuck they are? Because if you're a person from another country, say if you're in Europe and you want to come to America and become an American citizen, you're an architect or whatever. This is like a long, lengthy process. You only take a certain amount of people every year. You have to prove that you have a skill. There's a reason why you should be.
With every point he made, Joe Rogan's verbal onslaught grew harsher. He demonstrated how AOCC's open border philosophy corresponds to the same emotive policies often advocated by the woke left, exposing its inherent weakness and impracticality. Concepts that seem kind at first glance but ultimately exacerbate real issues. Rogan highlighted a simple reality. If eligible Europeans and even some North Americans must overcome several barriers to get U.S. citizenship, why should South Americans have an easier time? Although the argument was already strong, what he said next was even more potent and made a lasting impact.
They'll give you money. They'll give you a cell phone. There's people in Mexico. What they're doing is, this is pretty wild, because there's a radio station in San Diego that is a Mexican radio station. This guy was on the Mexican radio station. He's explaining how we do it. He's like, he's gone back 4 times that month. So every time he crosses over, he gets $2,000.
He's gaming it.
So he's gaming $8,000 in a month.
As you can see, this is much more complicated than a single flawed policy. It is a sign of overt manipulation of a system. Even if almost no one in positions of authority recognizes that millions of Americans struggle simply to pay their taxes while others fall between the cracks, abusing a system is not charity. Disguised as smart woke branding, it's anarchy. The twist is as follows. When left-wing hypocrisy is exposed, AOC's name miraculously stays off the list, as if she is untouchable to criticism. But Rogan reveals her obvious hypocrisy by pulling back the veil even further.
Someone said he's the most unintelligent person she's ever met.
Did she really say that?
She really said that.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met.
Oh, she used to own a Tesla car. Damn, she owned a Tesla.
Do you now understand why so many critics believe that Sanders' ticket would have issues akin to Kamala Harris? This is because they are all driven more by ideology than by useful results. Think about AOC. She has said that Elon Musk, one of the most successful inventors in the world, is stupid simply because he doesn't repeat her talking points. You have to agree with her in order to be intelligent in her world. And the instant you disagree, you turn into a fool. For this same reason, Rogan is publicly exposing her behavior and calling her out. Remember her big tax the rich moment as well. To truly understand how hypocritical it was, you had to see it.
Kevin O'Leary talking about on CNN.
Maybe I have a person. This is my respect for her. I buy her t-shirts for $39.95 tax the rich. They're very popular online each. She has an 82% margin on that, proving that inside of every socialist.
As he continued to exert pressure on AOC, Rogan's annoyance was evident as he pointed out what he saw as her self-serving notion of intelligence, a system that raises only her allies and those who share her beliefs while denigrating those who disagree. She believes that if you agree with her, you are a genius, and if you disagree, you are instantly called ignorant. In the next clip, you can hear the irritation in Rogan's voice as he responds to AOC's bold claim about Elon Musk. This was not just a simple dispute, it was a severe reality check that exposed the inflated confidence that supported her claims and brought much needed attention to the issue.
He also going to steal everybody's money. He has $400 billion. I'm telling you, he's not going to steal your money. I'm telling you, that's not what he's doing. What he's doing is, he's a super genius that's been fucked with. Okay? And when you've been fucked with by these nitwits that hide behind 3-letter agencies, and you're dealing with one of the smartest people alive, and he helps Donald Trump get in office, and he goes, I want to find out what kind of corruption is really around. Well, you fucked up. You fucked up and picked the wrong psychopath on the spectrum. He's gonna hunt you down. He's gonna find out what's going on, and that's good. That's good for everybody. That's how you should be looking at this. Like, wow, we have a brilliant mind that is examining these really fucking corrupt and goofy systems, and bringing in a bunch of psychopath wizards.
Yeah, well, AOC is the one that says he's the most unintelligent person she's ever met.
Did she really say that?
She really said that.
Wow, I want to meet her friends. They're probably cool. Imagine the conversation you'd have with her friends. If he's the most unintelligent person she's ever met, wow, her friends must be amazing. I want to go to one of those parties. It's probably just like a fascinating person.
But Rogan didn't stop there, turning up the pressure when an old clip resurfaced showing AOC at a glamorous celebrity-filled gala, the kind of elite gathering where wealth and influence are proudly on display. He quickly pointed out the contradiction. How does someone who claims to stand for working people spend the night surrounded by the powerful while wearing a designer dress that costs more than many earn in a month? To Rogan, it looked like politics dressed up as performance. That evening, she wasn't challenging the establishment at all. She fit right in. The contrast was impossible to miss, criticizing wealth in public while enjoying it behind closed doors. Rogan, known for calling out double standards, laid the moment bare. And from his next remark, it was clear he had little patience left for what he saw as deliberate misrepresentation.
This ball where all they do is celebrate extravagance and wealth, and you have a dress that says tax the rich. Like, what are you doing? Like, that dress is preposterous posing.
And then she was asked the next day because she got trashed for it. I don't know if you saw the pushback she got, and she came back and said, all you people that are saying, well, you're making $175 a year, to many people in America, you're rich. I'm not talking about people like me. I'm not rich. I'm talking about people that are worth in the hundreds of millions of dollars and the people that are worth billions. It's always the person that's like you.
Rogan not only called attention to AOC's hypocrisy, but also to what he believes to be her lack of a true intellectual foundation, which he believes is often hidden by her loud delivery and dramatic confidence. According to Rogan, AOC thinks she is the smartest person in the room and that she can convince people by speaking quickly, clearly, and wholeheartedly. But once you go past the polished footage and contrived indignation, he argues there is a shocking lack of depth in her words. Rogan wasn't just critical of her, he dismantled the facade piece by piece, revealing its underlying vulnerability. After hearing what he says next, it's almost impossible to see her painstakingly created character in the same light.
Trying to explain what they were, RICO crimes, and she was saying RICO is not a crime.
I saw
it's
that.
a category of crime. Like, okay.
RICO is not a crime. It is a category. What is the
category of crimes that you're then charged
You have charges.
along 100.
You have charges.
It's so dumb to say that publicly, like,
Well, she's-
and say it with confidence to tell a
That's
person.
the thing. The marriage of ineptitude and high self-esteem is
Yeah,
it's really the marker of our time.
Sir, please
the
name.
exact statute
Sir,
of RICO?
yes.
Well, it's funny. In this committee room, everyone's not here. There's over 8
All right, sir. I reclaim my
lawyers that
I
the
reclaim
law.
my
This was hardly a minor mistake. It was an amazing mistake. Ignoring Rico's mention of a specific type of crime is not a little mistake. It's a serious red flag that raises questions about her preparedness. Rico has been involved in major criminal procedures for a long time. For a legislator to be unaware of it is extremely troubling. This is not merely ignorance, it is recklessness. When someone who is so eager to shape national policy doesn't know the basics of legal jargon, it creates a significant credibility problem. If AOC wants to be taken seriously, she has a lot of learning ahead of her.
Gotta start from a place. Put it like this. I don't know if you heard of this Green Deal where they want to take 70% of anyone that makes over $10 million, 70% of their income.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. It's the dumbest thing
That's
ever.
AOC, right? Is that
Yeah,
her
right.
idea?
It's the dumbest thing ever.
I
Right?
don't mean, I wasn't calling her a bitch.
No. I like her.
I would say good luck bitch as an expression.
Yes.
I like her too.
I like her.
I don't agree with her with that, but I like her.
But what I'm saying is, my friend was like, "Oh, if the Democrats win, that's going to get passed because
She is motivated by her hatred of the wealthy rather than developing ideas that actually help people. Her ideas are not intended to inspire anyone. They are meant to ruin other people. Opportunity has nothing to do with it. It is related to punishment. The focus switches to eliminating the achievements of successful individuals and aligning them with her philosophy. Her proposal to impose a 70% tax on the wealthy is not only unfair, but it also stifles the economy. A nation is not strengthened by such policies. They undermine the fundamental structure that underpins the American economy, limit opportunities, and push out innovators. This is not the only reason why her detractors disagree with her. They are curious about her intentions.
First of all, you've got incompetent use of funds. Like,
where does the money go? All our taxes. Where
This
does it go?
idea that if you tax the rich, that all of a sudden all the problems will stop existing. That is so silly. You still have incompetent people that are distributing the money. They'll just create more jobs. There'll be more red tape.
And we get
more
more in
bureaucrats. Yeah. What we gotta do is figure out a real plan for engineering our system.
And that pattern keeps repeating itself. During President Biden's term, federal spending has climbed to record levels, with the deficit hitting about $1.7 trillion in 2023 and the national debt rising past $33 trillion, the highest point in U.S. history. Inflation lingered, everyday services declined, and major infrastructure issues were left unresolved. The core problem, critics argue, isn't that wealthy Americans aren't contributing enough, but that the government continues to mishandle the enormous sums it already collects. Raising taxes won't solve anything if the system managing that money remains careless and inefficient. Catchy slogans and loud outrage can't hide those facts anymore. The brand of politics associated with AOC, built on division, resentment, and memorable one-liners, is becoming harder to defend, and all Rogan had to do was reflect it back to reveal uncertainty, double standards, and deeply misplaced priorities.